Michelle Ewan. Thank you so much for joining us for a special hour on Law and Crime Network for the YNW Melly double murder trial Q&A. Our eyes are in Broward County, Florida for the trial of Jamel Demons, better known by his stage name as YNW Melly. The South Florida rapper is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the 2018 shooting deaths of Anthony Williams, also known as YNW Sack Chaser, and Christopher Thomas Jr., also known as YNW Juvie. The victims and the defendant were all a part of the YNW collective, along with co-defendant Cortland Henry, who will be tried in a separate case. Now, if YNW Melly is convicted, the 24-year-old could be facing the death penalty. While court is on their lunch recess right now, we will be taking your questions live on the air, so please submit them on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok as well, and we will do our best to get many questions answered as possible. And now I'm joined by a very special legal panel. We have Law and Crime Network's Brian Buckmeyer, Law and Crime correspondent Bryson Paul, as well as support online hip-hop legal contributor Afi Patterson. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here. This trial is receiving such national attention for many reasons, and there's so many twists and turns and drama. It is day 4 of this trial now. Brian, what has stood out to you thus far?
What stood out to me, I think, is the same thing that stood out throughout the trial so far. I'm trying to figure out where the smoking gun is in this case. Maybe it was the trajectory information where they're saying, hey, YNW Melly was sitting at this seat at this time. We saw a video from the recording studio of him entering the car. The shell casings and the trajectory of the bullet suggest that whoever's sitting here is the one that did it. But other than that, I'm not really seeing that damning evidence that the prosecution promised in their opening that should be playing out in this trial.
And Bryson, many people are talking about the demeanor of Melly after he was seen in the courtroom smiling and blowing a kiss, which the victim's family called disrespectful. How could a jury be reacting to that?
Oh, the jury is acting very mild, not really paying attention to what is going on in the gallery, really just paying attention to the evidence at this time.
And Afi, how would you assess day 4 and what you have heard thus far?
So
day 4 has gotten
I think
even.
Today has been. I think today's been fantastic. I think the defense has done a really great job, especially dealing with the Snapchat information, making their objections clear on the record, making sure that they bring in a first tier law to explain their objections and making sure that they make a beautiful record, I think, in the event of appeals. I think that part has been fantastic for me. I also think I agree with the other correspondent. How is the prosecution going to put the gun in Melly's hand? How are they going to make him the trigger man? I understand their theory. They have promised a lot, but I don't see how they're going to put the gun in the hand. That's what I'm waiting for. All
right, great analysis as usual, guys. We're going to now take questions now from all of our viewers. Please keep them coming. We're going to take a question now from Creeps Cringe TV from YouTube asks, do you think that the prosecution has used the 4 years that they have had Melly incarcerated in the best way to build a case against them, or have failed to come up with more evidence to seek the death penalty? Brian, your thoughts?
I don't think so. And maybe it's stylistic, but this is the way I think about presenting any kind of argument to a jury. I want to be the first one to tell you something. I want to tell you more often than the other person, and I want to be the last one to tell you as well. And what I mean by that is, tell me why he's guilty early, tell me why he's guilty often, and give that last word as to why he's guilty. If a jury is waiting 3, 4, 5, how many ever days it gets to we get to the heart of the prosecution's case, you may lose people. You may have people drifting away. You might have people looking at YNW Melly and be like, I would be laughing too at this point in the case, because there hasn't been that hard-hitting evidence that makes me think I'm on your side. You want to get the jury on your side as quickly as possible, and I'm giving the prosecution the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure they have something that's going to come. I'm saying do it now and grab and contain and hold the jury's attention for the rest of the trial. Otherwise, you may never get them.
All right, we have another question now. Bryson, I'm going to let you take this one. This is from Young Baller from YouTube. He asks, how are tensions in the courtroom on day 4?
Tensions are the same as day 3, and it's very, 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 very tense between both sides, both Melly's gallery and both the victim's gallery. The families of the deceased are very upset, very angered by Melly's approach, just his demeanor and while he sits in the courtroom, he smiles, laughs, talks to his mother and special guests in the courtroom, and prays. And the family of the victims are just are still hurt that their significant others are lost, and just angered by the lack of remorse that he has for them.
All right, Afi, we have another question from YouTube from Renard Preston here. They ask, is it still possible for Cortland Henry to be used as a witness of the state, or would he have already needed to be identified as a witness by them prior to the trial beginning?
Because we know who he is. There's no surprise. He would have needed to be identified from the beginning. But also, if he takes the stand, it's easy for him to just invoke his Fifth Amendment right not to testify, not to incriminate himself. And can I also say about yesterday, you don't want to drown your jury in jargon. I think the gun expert drowned their jury, and there was a comment on it that you could have gotten a certificate in whatever he was discussing, but you don't want to lay it on heavy. You want to talk to me like I'm a 4th grader and just guide me through in pieces that I can understand. That's how you're going to keep me. That's how I'm going to not zone out, and I'm going to continue to be engaged.
Well, like I said earlier, there is so much for this jury to take in, let it all sink in. We're going to see where it goes later after their lunch break. But guys, keep your questions coming. We're going to take a quick break here on Law and Crime. We'll do our best to answer all your questions on the air. Stay with us. We'll be right back.